Good afternoon. I am Dr. Kimberly Burgess, and I serve as the Executive Director for Student Success here at the unsinkable Albany State University. And I am here today with Ms. Yazmine Latimore, who is a senior biology major here at Albany State University. Good afternoon, Yaz.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for sitting and talking with me today. We're talking to people on campus who I have met, who I think have a little bit of extra something on Voices of the Extraordinary. They bring a little bit of something extra to the table that I think has helped them become successful as students here at Albany State. And I think they have lessons that would be useful particularly for first year students coming in. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start about pre-Albany State. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey before Albany State.
So pre-Albany State, I never liked to sit down. I was a very hyper kid, So when it came to, high school and, you're trying to figure out, oh my God, where am I going to go? And then, COVID happened. So I did spend a year of my high school online staring at a computer like everybody else did. And I was bored. I was so bored. And so I kind of wanted my high school lifestyle back of where I was going to football games. I go straight to work. I come from work to the football games. I'm on the cheer squad. I'm on the crunk squad. I'm taking pictures. I was running around. And I love the feeling because I hate being bored. So I wanted that same feeling in college, but I didn't want it to overpower me. So when it came down to picking a school, I played soccer. And I wanted to double major in biology and forensic science because I want to be a physician assistant. So when I picked my school, I was just like, all right, I want to go to an HBCU. I want to be with my people. I just like being around people I feel that understand me. So I wanted to go there. And then I was like, I kind of want to play soccer. So, that's the thing. A lot of HBCUs don't have women's soccer. So
right.
That was the biggest thing. Albany State had a women's soccer team. I was like, okay. And then I found out it had biology and forensic science. And then they let me double major. And I was like, y'all gonna let me do all of that? That's a lot. People be trying to limit people. And I think because they didn't limit me, this is why this school was my number one pick. And then I ended up doing RLCC as well. So, I said I wanted to be busy and not bored. I'm never bored.
So tell me about Yaz as a high school student. So you said you were in lots of organizations. Yes. Tell me everything that you did in high school.
So in high school, it was really like seeing the different organizations. It kind of piqued my interest. So it didn't always have to be about what I wanted to do. Like whether, I used to sing. I had a little voice to me. I used to sing. I was in theater. That was really fun. I was also in, of course, my magnet program, which was biohealth sciences at Ridgeview High School. And I was also in school for the arts because I was singing and doing theater. I was almost in every bag. I did everything I could because I enjoyed it. I wanted to be with my friends. All of my friends did the exact same things with me. They were in student council. We were in theater together. We were singing together. So we're on the weekends. We got all these events. It didn't feel like work because I'm with my friends. We're at basketball games. We're painting posters for the pep rally overnight at the school. Who wouldn't want to run around their school in the middle of the night putting posters up? It's so fun. Nobody's around. And you're just having fun being in student council because we're setting up for an event. So it was really just because I got to be with my friends and do what I wanted to do.
Was being a leader, because we'll talk about the kind of things you do at Albany State in a minute, was being a leader already ingrained in you? Did someone help you, push you there? How did you wind up being who you are?
I would say the two things would be my mom and my student council advisor. So my mom, I got siblings. I got 2 sisters, 2 brothers. I watched all of them do the college process. I'm the youngest. I watched all of them go from high school to college, doing all the events. I played soccer because my brother played soccer. And then I liked soccer. I just kind of followed in their footsteps because my mom was just like, she's a principal at J.P. Thomas Elementary, but she's a hustler too. She always is working, is always striving, and she's always mentoring others. And I kind of got that from her. So when it came to doing stuff in high school, I was just like, okay, I feel like I found what I do because I don't feel like it's leading. I feel like I'm just being myself. And then it just comes off as being a leader because it's like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm a volunteer to do this. Oh, yeah, I have no problem doing this because my thing is if I have the knowledge, I'm going to share it. And that's always been my philosophy. So, doing that. And then when I met my student council advisor, she didn't take anything for granted. So she was also a hustler. She was always moving and working. She had big ideas and I had big ideas. So we worked really well together and she's pushing me because my biggest thing was when you're a leader, you got to be the example. So I was the leader. I wasn't really the example yet. I'll be honest. I was in high school.
So you were doing high school things.
I was doing high school things. I was a female in high school with maybe a little bit of attitude, and I knew what it took to be a leader, but I didn't necessarily want to be that example yet. So I think that's where she taught me that, okay, if I'm going to be a leader, I got to lead by example. So, I might can go over here and do talk shows and do interviews, but I can't be giving sass back to teachers at all either, because then it's like, that's my student body president.
With the title comes responsibility. That's something that you learned.
And that's what I really had to learn.
So when you came to Albany State University, you chose Albany State because it had everything that you were looking for, and you said it was kind of unbelievable. It seemed like everything was lining up, when you got here. You're here, you're a fresh-faced freshman, okay? What were your expectations of what you were supposed to be doing and how it was supposed to happen?
So my first semester freshman year, I was very slow with it. I didn't want to overbear myself with high school because, all the activities I did in high school, because in college, the activities I do or anything I'm involved in will show up on resumes, will show up on scholarship activities, getting internships, and getting eventually to where I wanted my job to be. So I had to be intentional about what I wanted to do. And so I took a step back. I went to club fairs. I used my resources. I went out and I got interest in a couple of things. And that's when I kind of started looking. I was like, okay, well, first thing I wanted was an honors program. I wanted to find the connections because you can't always put yourself somewhere. You need help. Someone else can plug you in. So I took my extension cord and I got plugged in with the honors program.
Very good.
So getting plugged in there, that kind of helped me broaden what it meant taking these honors classes, pushing myself academically, but also seeing what it meant outside of academics, looking at internships and looking at scholarships and what it took to get those, because it was like, okay, I'm in the honors program, but there's other stuff I could do. I was already a student athlete, so I was like, okay, and I was already in ROTC, so I was being very minimal. First semester, doing very slow, looking at different.
So you consider that to be minimal? Yeah. Student athlete, ROTC, and honors. You say that's minimal.
Compared to high school, that was very minimal for me.
So you felt that was a slow semester?
That was my slowest semester.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So you get with the honors program, and that was your plug in. Did your other classmates who were not in the honors program, did you see that they had similar types of plugs? Did they have access to plugs that you had?
Yes, so that's where I started joining more clubs, because it wasn't just the honors program, because it was like, well, Yasmine, I'm getting internships. I'm texting my best friend. She's like, Yasmine, stop texting me. I'm like, girl, I'm sending you links. These internships right here. I tell my friends every time, I was like, what do you want to do this summer? Well, I want something criminal justice based, because it's very hard. Internships, finding them for your major is what you're really looking for. So when it came to that, I was just like, well, yeah, girl, anytime I see something, I send it. True to my word, anytime I see something with lawyer or anything with criminal justice, I send it to my 2 friends that's on the volleyball team. Anything with accounting, I send it to one of my other friends that's an accounting major. So it was just getting plugged in there, and then I started seeing what they were involved in. So one of my friends who was a pre-med was in MAPS, Minority Association of Pre-Medical Students. And I was just like, what's that? So being someone who wants to work in the medical field, I didn't understand what that could do for me. So what MAPS does is they have a lot of seminars. They bring graduate school programs and doctorate and MD programs to the school to come talk to us, to give us internships and give us all this MCAT or GRE prep. And I was like, I need that. How I joined the club. So it was like, okay, well, we got this interest meeting. So I show up to the interest meeting. I'm joining a committee. I'm sitting here getting involved in a club because, like I said, I was intentional to what I got involved with. So with this club, it was intentional because this organization literally brought the graduate school programs to me. It kind of was like, this is a club that's plugging me into other organizations, to where I think last winter break, before leaving for Christmas, I ended up meeting with the dean of Mercer Medical School because I was plugged in with that organization.
So, in essence, what I'm hearing is that you were about taking opportunities. Like, you took advantage of every opportunity, that you had. I hear from so many freshmen, what are you doing your freshman semester? Nothing. I'm in my room. How many friends do you have? None. There's nothing to do. I don't really have anywhere to go. And I'm sure you've heard this as a student leader.
Yes.
What is your response when students say this as a student leader? Where do you think that disconnect is? Because obviously you figured out this hustle. You figured out how to be plugged in, how to network. Why do you think so many students feel disconnected and unplugged? And what do you think when you hear them say that?
Well, it's probably being unplugged because, in high school, your high school friends are probably people you went to kindergarten with. I know that's with my high school friends. So when you come to a school, maybe I'm 5 hours away from home. So when you come from a school, you're not near anybody you know, you kind of want to stay to yourself. You want to feel people out. So, but when you feel people out, you're kind of getting left out and you're staying in your room. You don't go outside. And that's the biggest thing. Like, some people don't even go to the caf. I'm like, well, at least go to the caf. You walk into the caf, you pass the library, you pass the student center that got 50 million flyers up about different organizations.
They do.
And I was like, okay, well, how are y'all missing all these opportunities? But I think it's just a mindset because, like I said, a lot of people don't know how to branch out. Like, okay, it's like, oh, I've been hearing good things about this, but I don't know what to do. This is college, so certain classes, you're in a class, I will say our class sizes are small, like 20 to 15, but sometimes when you're in class, you don't talk to each other. I don't even got a class group chat. I have a class group chat for every single one of my classes.
Are you the one that develops the group chat, or are you
Yes.
always part of the group chat? So you're the developer of the group.
I'm the developer because my thing is, everybody be missing deadlines. Like, hey, we got this going on, and the next thing you know, you form friends from that group chat. Like, I have one of my male friends. He wants to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. So we check in from now and then because we started having a lot of science classes together, and we be checking in, especially about that chemistry, because chemistry ain't no joke. And I be checking in with him, like, how you doing, man? He's like, hey, I'm struggling right now. I'm like, okay, well, what we got to tutor in? I already took this course, so just let me know what you need help in. So it's just like a lot of people don't know how to branch out and talk to people because they're freshmen, they don't come out their room, they in classes not speaking to nobody, and it's just a matter of taking that initiative to like branch out or just show up to one thing on campus. It's so many opportunities to meet new people, to meet new friends. Everybody's very friendly. I swear I meet a new person every week. Just because I'm at an event, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Oh, you in this? Oh, I like to hear stories. I like to know what's going on with people's lives, and I think that's where a freshman have disconnect because they don't go out, they don't branch out, and so sometimes we have to bring it to them, which I think has been helping these last 2 years. I will say, like, freshmen have branched out more because we're bringing the organizations and putting it right in their face so they can't run away.
What are some examples of putting it right in their face?
So I would say putting it right in their face. First, freshman week. So freshman week, I know for people who Albany State, y'all freshman week, I know you know it by banging on the doors. So I will say my freshman year, freshman week, I did not participate. I did not. I will say that honestly. I ignored the door knocking. I had practice every now and then, but I could have went. I ignored the door knocking. I was tired. I didn't want to get out. It was very early. I was like, I might go to this thing. Never went. So then I get more involved on campus. I'm like, dang, I really missed out. So these next 2 years being involved in that process, I feel like we've been able to get more and more freshmen involved in freshman week. That way, like my freshman year, a lot of us, that white ceremony where everybody had to dress in white.
The induction ceremony.
Yeah. Ain't half of us go my freshman year. It was
I remember
very small.
that, yeah.
But from that induction ceremony to the current induction ceremony we just had,
yes,
those numbers have been increasing. So I feel like that freshman week especially is the biggest opportunity to get organizations out there. And then like when I moved in, having those organizations help out, you're like, oh, there's a bunch of what's SOL? There's people that's banging on my doors every morning. I hate them. Then you get to learn them and like, oh, okay, maybe I don't hate SOL. SOLs, they're actually pretty cool people. They're helping me get to know the school. And so I think having that first week of just everybody in your face, it might get aggravating, but I feel like that was the easiest way to really get people involved. And then even with Summer Success Academy is a 6-week summer program that we advertise to get an easier transition to school. So my first year working Summer Success, we had a good number. It was decent. Second year working Summer Success, we had a lot of kids. And I think getting the word out and partnering even with the student athletes. So we actually had a lot of football players in our recent Summer Success. And I think that helped too because it's like, oh, hey, they did this program. This is something where we could always partner with football or soccer or even the cheer team or anybody else who wants to get their freshman athletes here early. That way, that program is here for them to transition better to being a student athlete because they're working out in the summer and they're taking classes, as well as just a transition for regular freshmen if you want to get here early so you know where everything's at. So you know you don't be looking embarrassed the first day of school.
So for what I'm hearing is part of the hustle initially. What I heard from you is understanding where the plugs are and who the plugs are, being a plug yourself, right? I hear always moving. So you're always making sure that you're not standing still, right? Speaking, actually opening your mouth and speaking to other students. And I heard you talk about visibility. Right, as being important. Would you feel that makes up the most important parts of your student leadership?
I would say so, yes, because you got to be approachable. Like, don't know, I ain't trying to say it's a popularity contest, but it's the 21st century. We know how kids work these days and students work, and you have to be visible. You got to be active on social media. You have to be approachable to where, if someone wants to come up to you, ask you a question, say, hey, what's up, what's going on? You in the elevator with someone. If they want to ask you, oh, here you go, oh, thank you so much. You can just ask them to where, like, I'm getting pulled aside by my friends, like, oh, hey, y'all got an event going on? Yeah, we have an event, come on out. So I feel like it's just easier to, if you showcase your leadership through that, you can actually plug other people in because they're seeing it, they see it actively. So it's not just you being a leader at school and then you out here doing whatever on the weekends, but instead you're showing it actively through every day you do. I'm on the weekends posting, hey, come out to this event, we got this going on, make sure you pull up. I'm always on my social media, like, showing people that they should come out to different events and get involved, because I feel like that visibility is what a lot of people lack. So if you don't see what's going on, how you know to come out?
I absolutely agree. We've talked about the extraordinary parts of your student leadership. Also, what stood out for me, of course, was your ability to pay. One of the hardest things in college and what sends students home every year is their inability to pay for their education. And every time I saw you, you were talking about another way to pay for your education and get paid for your education. So let's talk about that a little bit. Like, when did you first figure out about getting paid instead of paying for education? Talk about when did you first learn about that?
So it first started in high school. I had, like I said, I mentioned earlier, I had siblings. So I saw them struggle to pay for college. And then I saw my mom and my dad, they done the Parent Plus loans. I have a brother a year older than me. So a lot of that money went to him. So then it was like, okay, well, I got to figure something out. So I don't, nobody wants to go to school down the street. So I told myself, I was like, I don't want to be too far. I like coming home to see the family, but I gotta get away. So 5 hours was far enough. But it was like, okay, how am I gonna pay for this? So my senior year, I got a lot of scholarships because I was very involved in high school. So that paid for my first semester at Albany. But I had to figure out how to pay for the rest of it. So I had the ROTC. If I got contracted by sophomore year, I'd be pretty decent. It would pay for most of it. I wouldn't have to worry.
Tell us what contracting means.
So contracting for ROTC is when you accept a contract with the Army. So in this case, I accepted one with the Georgia National Army, the Guard. And the way it works is if I do ROTC my 4 years, I graduate, I'll commission as a second lieutenant. Okay. So when you contract, that's when they start paying your school. So my contract is it's just been increased. So it's the $6,000 scholarship every semester. I get $1,200 for books split up into the 2 semesters, and I get a stipend every month of about $422.
Okay.
So that contract was enough, but you had to work for the contract. So you couldn't get the contract starting freshman year. I didn't get it till my sophomore year. So I had to figure out how to pay for the second semester of my freshman year tuition. I had the board waiver. I was like, okay, financial aid. I don't take out loans. That was one thing I refused to do because I realized I was going to have to pay them back. And I don't like paying people back.
I understand.
So my thing was scholarships. So I met my friend, Thurgood Marshall.
Let's talk about Thurgood.
Let's talk about
Thurgood Marshall.
Thurgood Marshall, you got to finesse it. So
What is Thurgood Marshall for
Thurgood
everyone who's
Marshall
listening?
College Fund is an organization that really helps out HBCUs or predominantly black institutions, and they have scholarships, internships, mentorships. They got it all. A lot of companies partner with them, Wells Fargo, Vanguard, a lot of different companies partner with them to provide these opportunities. But you got to apply, and other HBCUs are applying. So when I heard about Thurgood Marshall, I was like, okay, I'm going to apply. I heard about it from the honors program initially, and then they were posting flyers all around school. I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna apply. It's a video scholarship. So the way they do their scholarships, they ditch the essays, and really all you're doing is submitting a video. All you have to do is talk. And, you know, in my head, I'm like, I can talk in a video. I can talk for days.
Seems easy enough.
Seems easy enough. So first time I did a Thurgood Marshall video for a scholarship, I was wearing a T-shirt, I was in my dorm, and I was sitting in a chair in front of my desk, and I recorded the video from my phone. It looked a little ranky, but I thought the video was good enough. I had a whole, hair tie on my head because my wig wasn't on straight.
No,
but you know,
not the hair tie.
I still thought I was good enough. You know, it's just a video. You know, I ain't get no money.
Surprise.
Surprise. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, I'm going to give up. That one. And then I made one video. The scholarship, you can make different videos or you can use one video to apply for multiple. It depends on the prompt. And I was just like, okay, that did not work. So I was sad. I was like, all right. Well, Thurgood Marshall, one thing about them is they got 4 months of scholarships. They do a section in January, a section in March, and a section early May. So I was like, okay, let me try again. Second time I made my video, I was in my military uniform, but my background was still terrible. I was in a supply closet at ROTC building because it took me a minute to write out what I was going to say. But I was in my uniform at least, but I was holding the phone up. The video was good. I talked clearly. I was in uniform, so it's up from my
It was an
t-shirt.
improvement. It was an improvement.
I got one scholarship from that video. Mind you, that video applied for 15, 16 to 20 scholarships. I
you
only
got
got one.
Okay.
The one scholarship I got was $2,500. I was like, okay, hey, this is nice. All right, so it paid for my school for that freshman year, spring semester. I was like, okay. So sophomore year, I got my military contract, but I'm still applying because just because you got the money doesn't mean you can stop applying for scholarships because you never know when you're going to need a scholarship.
So part of the hustle is to keep going,
it's
right? It's
always to keep going. Just because, you know, we don't sit down because we save. We're always working for more. So my thing with the scholarships was, well, let me keep going because military does not pay for summer. And I had to take summer classes because I was a double major. So I was like, okay, well, I need more scholarships. So I applied to Thurgood Marshall again. Third time, I made maybe 7 different videos because the prompts were very different this time. I couldn't just reuse the same old video. I was dressed up all nice. I did it against a solid background. The lighting was good. My hair was done. I was looking good, y'all. That video got me 2 scholarships, but the 2 scholarships were $5,000 each.
That would be $10,000, ma'am.
That was $10,000.
On top of the contract?
On top of the contract.
Oh, okay.
And then I also had separately applied to a Luther Vandross Foundation scholarship. I found this scholarship on, I think it was Albany Career Services. I follow Albany State platforms on all Instagrams and Facebook. So I saw a flyer come in on Instagram, and I was like, scholarship? Let me apply. You know, I have my resume from doing my scholarships in the past. I had a personal statement from applying to internships in the past. So quickly apply from the scholarship from my phone. Because I already had the personal statement, I already had the resume. It's in my phone. It's on my files. So I applied. So that awarded me, Luther Vandross was a $5,000 scholarship to split up between 2 semesters. So in total, coming into this year, I got $15,000 in scholarships, not including my military. So, you know, I was happy. I was like, okay, I know what y'all thinking. Oh, what you gonna do with the money? You know, your military paid for school. What I'm gonna do with the money, right? So my money is sitting in a Capital One savings account because I feel the need that, again, I'm doing a master's program. One thing about graduate school and doctorate school, if you want to go be a doctor, you want to be physical therapy, you getting a master's in business or accounting, it is hard to find scholarships for graduate school. I knew that. My mama told me that because most people take out loans. Mm-hmm. So I was like, well, let me just save these scholarships for then. So that was my rationale. I was just like, okay, well, if I save these scholarships, I just use my military scholarship to pay for my housing and my tuition, and these scholarships are going to sit here, increase my interest, and keep on flowing. And then what I found out, because Thurgood Marshall always comes in clutch. So it's always important to read the scholarship you're applying for because both those scholarships have an opportunity to be renewed for next year. as well as the fact that they each have a separate mentor program where you're getting sent internships and you're getting a signed mentor from both programs. So I got like three college mentors from around the world and access to internships getting sent to me by the company that awarded me the scholarship.
So you hit the plug jackpot.
I hit the plug jackpot. I was living life. Matter of fact, just yesterday I had a scholarship check-in meeting. You have to do check-ins, and we just had a meeting. It was like, well, hey, we finna start sending y'all internships. If you apply, make sure you text us and email us so we know you're applying because you're guaranteed internships if you want them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what can a freshman learn? Tell me if you could encapsulate. What can a freshman learn from your experience?
I would just say take the opportunities. Like, I understand, y'all be tired. You may not want to, you don't know what's going on. Never say no. You never know what can happen. So when you see a flyer and you're like, it piqued my interest, actually take the initiative and go to it because opportunities come from everywhere. I was awarded a lot of these opportunities that I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try. All you got to do is try. I understand if you don't get it. I didn't get it the first 2 times. I was sitting here wishing I had the money that I had a friend making all the Thurgood Marshall scholarship money, and I was like, I want some of that too.
What made you not give up the first time? I come across students, I spoke with a student yesterday, and as soon as she got knocked down, she had the first failure, she admittedly was like, that was it. I didn't want to try anymore. So what, and I hear that from freshmen, what made you keep going? Did someone teach that to you, or do you feel like you naturally came out the womb with this persistence?
I feel like it was natural, but at the same time, like I speak of my mom and like seeing my siblings, like I knew there was no parent plus loan option for me because my brother took my mom and my dad's. So it was like, you either find a scholarship or you got to pay out of pocket. And I told y'all I was refusing to take out loans because even taking out the loans, I still would have had to pay some money up top. So overall, I was just like, okay, well, if I don't get the scholarship, I ain't going to be able to pay for school. I'm going to be having to sit and work 20, 40 hours a week, mind you, on top of all the stuff I'm already doing.
So there was the feeling that you didn't have much of a choice.
It was no choice for me. It was just like do or die. Like, okay, I needed to get this. I needed to do these opportunities, or at least keep trying, because if you try, one thing my mama says, like, as long as you try, she does not care. It'll all work out in the end. Like my mom always said, it's gonna come through. So if you try, it's always gonna come through to you. It might not be the first time, might not be the second. 3 times a charm. That's what I like to say, because that third time really was a charm.
Yeah, it really was a charm for you.
But as long as you try, I feel like it will come around in the end. But you gotta keep trying.
So I am a huge Marvel fan. I am big on superheroes. And so I talk to students all the time about superheroes and superpowers. Tell me, how do you define superhero?
I think the way I define a superhero is someone you can realistically live up to. So my superhero isn't always like someone from a Marvel or someone from DC Comics. It's someone you physically actively see doing the work and doing the job and helping others. And I feel like each of us can be our own superheroes if we wanted to.
So what are your superpowers?
My superpowers, I would say resilience. I don't ever stop. Like, no matter how many times I get knocked down, I don't stop. I would say communication. I do reach out. I like to talk to people. I understand the relationships I have built on this campus and even before I got here, to where I've been keeping those relationships. I still go home every semester and speak to my student council advisor. That's my dog right there. So keeping that communication and those relationships open are important, because you never know when you're going to need them.
Which superheroes have you met while you've been here at Albany State that you feel like have helped you, have rushed in and performed what you said, looked out for people and helped people? Who are your superheroes?
I would say my biggest superhero here would be Dr. Lyons. So I met Dr. Lyons. She is one of the honors program coordinators. I met her, and at first I was like, okay, all right. She's very like me. She's very adamant. She's very pushy. She's motivating you. So she motivated me. And it kind of just kept me going, because I was like, okay, well, she got a lot of opportunities here. So if she's motivating me, I think I can give her a little bit something back. And so her motivation towards me allowed me, like I said, I met with the dean of Mercer Medical School. That was through Dr. Lyons, because she knew a friend. She sent my resume that we had worked on. And next thing you know, I got the dean of Mercer Medical School knocking down my door like, hey, come see us. And I had a whole private tour with them. So I think like I said, understanding that connection and seeing her motivate me to help motivate others, it was just like, okay, well, I can give a little back myself. I can sit here and motivate other freshman students, hence why I was an honors program mentor and Summer Success Academy mentor, because I can sit here and mentor other freshmen the same way she was motivating me to share my knowledge and my experiences of how I got my internships, how I got my scholarships, because we don't all have to struggle. I don't got to keep everything to myself. You got to share your knowledge. And I think that was the biggest thing I learned from her.
Do you think that's the duty of leadership?
Yes. I feel like if you don't share it, how are others going to know what to do? My mama taught me, how to do a FAFSA by myself. I literally just call her to do the signature at this rate. But not everybody gets taught that. Not everybody gets taught how to talk to financial aid or look up your classes or even make sure that you're graduating on time, because that's not the advisor's job, that's your job. They got 50 million students to take care of. So I think sharing the knowledge of what you've learned is what a leader should do, because you have people here who don't know anything, and if you keep sharing it, they are going to be okay because they're learning from you just as you learned from others.
Well, you've given a lot of key skills for freshmen. We talked about the speaking and being resilient and plugging and being visible. Do you have anything else you would want freshmen to know or you want freshmen to walk away with?
I would just say, walk away knowing that you put your heart into everything you did. Because when you know you left it all on the floor, you don't have any regrets.
And there you have it, Miss Yazmine Latimore. Thank you so very much for talking with me today. I have so appreciated our conversation and have always learned from you. Every time I talk to you, I learn something new. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Miss Yazmine Latimore. You are an extraordinary voice at the unsinkable, indestructible Albany State University. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you.
This podcast is recorded, produced, and edited in the WASU FM studios on the Albany State University campus. I am your host and producer, Dr. Kimberly Burgess. Thank you so much for listening. Go Rams.